Okay, I started recording right now. So welcome to our weekly virtual site visit webinar. Very delighted to also welcome our co-hosts. We have from HelmsBriscoe, Sheila Riikonen. She also works at the MPI, the Committee Against Human Trafficking. And I'm also at the MPI at the World Education Congress as a chair of the Event Review Committee for the upcoming event. We both work on a daily basis with a lot of venues, trying to obviously help with the sales and to bring customers. And now we are really excited to welcome July Kim Young. Welcome from Amsterdam. You have been working with us now to create a upgraded version of virtual site visits during this pandemic. So hope you will be able to also show us a little bit about what that work entitles nowadays. So thank you, July, for joining us.
Thank you, Anna, for having me in this webinar, and it's a pleasure to partner. It has been a delight to partner with Visualizer in creating this new way of showcasing hotel venues and being able to show to really show the look and feel of the hotels of our event.
Definitely. So we are really jumping now to our location first of all. So for those that are joining via Facebook and also maybe watching this via recording, and those that are with us today at the webinar, we are traveling within Europe, and we will be going to drums. Here you see Amsterdam. So we will be looking at some of the properties in Amsterdam today, and we have an exciting new product that July and Ernst have both been working on, and with us we've been really pinpointing what the venue finders are looking for in terms of remote working, and we're looking at properties in a 360 manner, in a more of an AR and VR technology prospect. You know, we've been basically able to together come up with some better ways of viewing the properties as we can travel at the moment. So first of all, I'm just showing you on a map the city itself. So we're looking at a location-wise how to get there, and this is usually the starting point for any of our venue searching and identifying where the events will be taking place. So first is the accessibility. And with this interactive map, we are able to always look at the distance from the airport. It's about 30 minutes with the express train. And also we can go further just to highlight which countries or cities are around, so that for those that are maybe booking the venues from USA or Asia or other parts of Europe, can orientate themselves also regarding train travel. We will be able to go further into the maps to also create those road guides or maps for those that are driving. So that's actually something that we really need to look at always, is where we are. And then we go into the actual properties. So we're able to always look at the public areas, which is the lobby, and go into the reception areas, and really talk about whether we have mobile check-in, RFID technology in use, something that we can give access even just remotely to all the guests, or how does the actual physical process works if we are taking temperature checks or checking for COVID vaccination certificates. I mean, it really depends on how the event is organized and whether there are these protocols in place. So this is a little snippet of just the beginning of it, but I'm actually more excited to let July show where our collaboration has led to, and how July and Ernst has really solved some of the technical issues that we had earlier, for example, regarding distances and so, because that's one of the weaknesses sometimes, that if we are remotely organizing an event, we don't exactly know how far we are from each point or where we are. And therefore, I let July to present today on what kind of tools we have for that. And let me just stop the screen sharing so then we can swap our hosts, you know, here on the go. I will give you the rights in case you weren't able to.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay, there we go. Thank you, Anna, for the lovely introduction. And now, so just to 1 second, I'm just gonna minimize this.
So we're now at another brand. As said, we're not brand specific here. It's really a lot of variety, a lot of different types of venues, not only hotels as well that we have virtual site visits for, but this one is specifically exciting. So let's see.
Yes, this one was a joint project, and so for this one we had the pleasure to do it for the Apollo Hotel in Amsterdam in Vinkerveen. So as you can see, what we had in mind is when we were creating this new navigation way of navigating and way of showcasing the property, we're thinking about what would it be, how we would be able to showcase all the information and everything that is required or needed from the standpoint of the sales and marketing people of the venue, as well as how could end user themselves be able to navigate through the space at their own leisure without, you know, having to be there personally, because as we know, COVID has restricted the traveling, and as we know, maybe in the future going forward, a lot of companies are going to cut their budgets short. So there are a lot of venues seeking like going to venues to site visits, do site visits at venues might not be possible that much. So providing them a virtual experience of being able to see the property as a whole allows event planners or to be able to narrow down their scope as to and figure out which ones they really want to go visit.
Definitely also on the sustainability aspect and inclusiveness side of the industry and businesses, they want to make sure that everyone anytime can take a look at the property. And also, yeah, sustainability makes it harder for us to take those flights as well. I mean, we need to be mindful, and therefore we have this option.
Yeah, and this is also a very a time in terms of sustainability of time as well. It makes a lot of sense because, like you say, you as a location finder for events, you have to sift through a lot of event spaces to find the right one. So going back, since this is a 360 virtual tour, we wanted to make it sure that either you can open the menu structure or close it, and you'll see why. So public areas, we can go to the reception.
Yes, that's brilliant. So as on the real in-person site visits, when we do really invest on those ones, this is always the starting point. We walk into the location, we get the first impression.
Exactly. And that's Angela at the front desk. So
Hi,
as you can see, you can walk around the property, the space, either using your mouse or your arrow keys. And since a lot of times it's hard to tell where you are in reference to other points in the hotel, so we have created a mini map right here. This arrow.
Out of a curiosity, we can see where we are at the reception. How close to this bar can you go to? Can you actually go inside what you were just looking at
No.
behind you? Is it actually possible to go around and in there?
We can go around the bar.
This is exciting to see, because for those that have not experienced this fully, do not necessarily know the limitations. And now we're not really seeing limitations. So are we able to go behind the bar and
Well, and
now
that's
we're in
the
the
thing.
kitchen, are we?
Yeah,
We're in the
you
kitchen.
can go behind the bar, but so we can do two functionalities for purposes of sales and marketing. We can close these back areas so that the normal end user cannot walk through them. But if you would like it for training purposes, for staff training and new staff training, for example, then we can open these spaces, because you don't want everybody to be walking behind the bars or going into the kitchen, I think. So, for example, if you go to the Harbor Club here, you go to the restaurant, then you'll see a couple of icons here. So this one gives you the corona measures provided by the hotel, by the space. The information button here will give you practical information about the space itself. So we're at the restaurant. So here it tells you opening hours, as well as where you can call and where you can make your reservations, as well as the location. And all of this is available, but if you want to walk around without having to see all those buttons around, you can just close them and walk around.
Yes. Again, for the sake of those that haven't seen a virtual site visit before, can we do a few little tricks? For example, can we look at the ceiling so that we really see the fact that we are doing a 360? Because we like to say, when we've been doing in the past 12 months, we've been presenting twice a week a virtual site visits. One of our things is that you really are saving a lot of physical effort as well, because you can truly look around. You can see the style of the tiles on the floors. You can see exactly how the ceiling looks, where the light spots are. You really get all the details, including power sockets, and heating arrangements.
And you don't, unlike typical pictures that only showcase certain spots, with this virtual visits, which is as if you're there yourself, you can see everything. You're able to visualize where everything is.
And that's one of the reasons why we are prepping properties for the material, photography and the harnessing of all these data. We also tell that, the space needs to be clean, and so it's all set up. So all this is a collaboration from the staff with July and Ernst to make this property presentable as it is.
Yeah. And at that time, there were like loan stuff, so we had a few people working really hard to make sure everything looked pristine.
Definitely important.
And this is the other beautiful part that you can do with Metaport, the Metaport technology. You can do a dual house effect of all the spaces of the floor, and you can fly in.
We can basically fly in and out from the space, but then all of this multimedia goes on the platform in an easily representable or presentable format, and that's what we're aiming for. So any kind of data or documents, also including video, we can present on one platform under one link URL code, so that it's not heavy. And also, it doesn't take any space really when you're sending an email with that link, or WhatsApp even. I mean, you can LinkedIn message people and share these details. What we notice a lot at the FAM trips is that the organizer creates a WhatsApp group, and then the data that from, for example, photography is shared in that WhatsApp group for all the event organizers and business representatives who have attended the FAM trip. In this case, during or after the FAM trip, you can also share this link about the virtual site visit.
So, and that's correct. I mean, we're making it easily shareable so that you can share it around. And these are, for example, this was one of the rooms. The tiles up here shows you the different types of rooms that there exist for the standard rooms. And in those tiles, we are able to also offer the opportunity for the hotel or the property itself to add different views of that certain room. For example, here's the suite, and when we went, it was Valentine's Day, so they actually were able to decorate the room for a client, for their client, for their guest, in a Valentine's, for a very romantic.
Yes, and because all of the virtual site visits that we create, they're easily also upgradable or updated. So you can instantly change these images. You can send a new, for example, photography of something that you have a style that you wanted to portray. Maybe there's a campaign. Remote working is now a big theme as well. So we can incorporate all of those on the virtual site visits for you.
Exactly. So, but let's go to the event center. So this is the lounge in the event center, the upstairs lounge. So once again, you can walk around, either walk around through the whole space, or you can just click on any
we
of
could
the...
stay a little bit longer in these spaces because for the sake of, again, when we're looking at it first time, what we like to talk about is also how the site visit progresses. So this is a breakout area. Apologies of the background noise. This is a breakout area where, first of all, you would have the coffee and tea breaks between the sessions. And then you can see accessibility also via lift. But there's a nice gimmick because you can also show the accessibility through the mini map or the map that you have. So it's really important on the event space to first orientate yourself
exactly
where the breakout areas are.
But I'll show you where the mini map. As we're still working on this file, not all the spaces are connected just yet, but we're finalizing those details. So I'm gonna show one thing that I wanted to show was able to show one way was the capacity map here that we're able to find for these times where COVID is still prevalent. We can do normal and then the COVID, as well as all the spaces plus, or just show the ones in the ground floor or the first floor. That's one way that we wanted to be able to show the capacity map in a way that made sense for people and that wasn't too complicated to find information. Our aim objective was to be able to put all the information required that a user, that the salesperson, that the event planner might want to be able to see in one all together at once. And if in the near future, we're still, like I said, this is a demo, we're still working. You'll be able to click on the button here and be taken to the room.
I need to actually, because we can do that already. So these are the options that you have as in a property who wants a virtual site visit can list different functionalities that they wish to have. And we do have the full interactive capacity charts available, where by clicking it transfers you to the space, but also you can harness those still images from that, which are really important for marketing the event, because we are talking about different functionalities here. Some you see in this Apollo property presentation, but some are also in, we have about 700 different types of presentations that we can show. But today we are really concentrating on walkthrough virtual site visits, and although there are differences. So some of them, as you can imagine, as a venue or as an event organizer, some are a bit more expensive solutions and some are very low cost. So it really depends on what kind of solution you're looking for.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I'm sorry. The kind of the capacity chart that we show was kind of, we try to model it same to the one that you already have in place, because we wanted to make sure that things didn't change too much for some people. But we went a step further into that, and we were able to capture the rooms empty. So this is an empty room, so that in the future, we could virtually stage the rooms so that you can easily see. I mean, it takes a lot of time for people to stage and unstage rooms just for photography. So one way of also streamlining and expediting the process of showcasing your property, we decided that, you know, we could put in virtual staging so that people, so maybe we can capture it once and just have the event planner decide which kind of view they wanted to see. Again, in each room, there's a basic information about the room, the capacity chart for that room.
So for those that have been with us for the past 12 months or 13 months, watching the virtual site visits that we do, you have seen lots of similar examples of empty spaces in several properties. So what is an add-on is that we can also bring in either rendering of the you know, as you can see here, you can have furniture as a gimmick just to highlight different setups, or then we can add the images that you have of different setups. So it's really up to the property, and it's a white label product like this one. You see, it's fully branded by the hotel itself. Mm-hmm. So it's really something that we go through a list of different functionalities. We give several options. You can look which one is really the most suitable for your purpose or how you want to present the property, and then we can build in these functionalities. So again, even if you only have your current photography, we can still create a virtual site visit out of that.
Sorry, it's a bit glitchy. I'm trying to showcase the
so as said, there are about 700 different types. So, or we can find more if you if you really want to have more different options. And so we always go through, first of all, what is the purpose of the virtual site visit? What's the target audience? Mm-hmm. And different target audiences want different things. So if we have a MICE product, meetings and events venue, we really want to be showing, like here you see the U shape, which is one of the most popular setups for COVID. But then at the same time, you might want to see the boardroom and the classroom in the same space. So all of that is possible here.
Yes, and I apologize for this, but
it's okay, because I can just carry on with our normal, I would say, agenda for the webinar is really to highlight how we work remotely currently, as we're obviously not able to travel as much as before, but also we choose not to travel as much as before for the sustainability reasons. And that's why we really have created different types of tools for different groups of people, different segments. So whether you're training your staff at the property, at the hotel or convention center, or whether you want to showcase this to your client base who's planning to book it for the rest of the year or for 2020, there are really a huge array that you can get from us. So by contacting, we can show different examples. And today we're looking at the walkthrough version.
Yeah. And well, we'll try this later. So if you want, maybe like this is the bigger room. So this is the black box, what they call the black box. And you can stage it in theater. This is actually their biggest space. The beauty of this is like, okay, so how tall are the walls? How tall, because it's important for event planners to be able to take measurements. What the Metaport function gives you, it gives you the functionality to be able to measure distances. So if you want to measure the distance from you want to see how tall the walls are, and then maybe see how big this space is, you can get all your measurements without having to be present at the venue itself. So if you want, you can always send the video or the walkthrough virtual tour to to your designer, and he can be able to take all the measurements that they want.
Definitely. I mean, that's a really big advantage, again, because it's an exact measurement. And when we planning banners or signs, or especially now we have a lot of different banners for the safety reasons as well, for the protocols, then we can easily fit and match them with the space that we're actually hiring. And here also the screens. I mean, we're now designing a lot of custom built, tailored, screens, also 360 screens, because of streaming of the event, hybrid events. So measurements have become even more important for those reasons.
Okay, so here, finally. So here's another way that we're showcasing the capacity charts. Sorry to cut you off, Anna, but like I said, it's
okay. Yes, I was trying to fill in the information whilst you were looking for this.
So here, as you know, it's always important for event planners to be able to see or to show their their attendees where they are. Sometimes, like in this case, all the conference rooms are called island, so it's hard to know which one is which. So we have incorporated a mini map here that tells you where each island is located or which room it is. And in this case, we're here in island 7 and 8, which is number 5. So good way, because as an event planner, you ask yourself, well, what are the capacity of the rooms nearby me if I want to have breakout sessions, if I want to have, a small meeting or something. So we made it easy in terms of being able to show the capacity chart here as well. So so you can choose which layout you want, and it'll show you how many on the capacity chart for all the rooms near you or adjacent to you. So this is a neat way to kind of be able to show what is possible and where the settings, what room settings are possible itself.
Definitely. I mean, that's one thing that makes it easier, again, is that you see the big picture in a very easy way. One question on, by the way, we have Sheila here also as a co-host, because I handed out the hosting rights to you, July. Now, could you please give permission to Sheila to be a co-host, because actually I don't have that ability, and she's going to then be able to put her video on.
How do I do this?
Oh, I think if you click her name at the participants, in the bottom it says participants. Yeah. You can open the little screen, then you click the name of the person, and then you can change the rights.
Okay, make host.
Yes. Make so then, well, it's okay now, because we have presenting already, so it works okay. July can carry on.
Yes.
Was she able?
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Jill. I have a question related to that. We have meeting planners now in the USA that have submitted their request for proposal to the hotels. In fact, one located in Thailand, Vietnam, and Cuba. So how do you think we could incorporate all these presentations using the very nifty tool that we have at the moment? You have shown us how to develop and create the capacity charts and so on. Is it possible to highlight each important feature of a particular groups of three hotels, and make sure that they are presented in a compact form? Going back to where you were showing us, is it possible to, in this context, present 3 rooms in 3 hotels without navigating to so many buttons?
Are you if I understand your question precisely, you're asking me if we can combine different hotels, the capacity chart for different hotels?
Probably that is going to be like too complex. I think that jumping from one hotel to another in a presentation wise, perhaps we can take this discussion in a summary level, because I think we are going now in a micro level. I hope my questions are relevant. So please, I would just like to listen to your presentation now and make sure I ask this question later on as a summary.
It's a very relevant question, because you have to be able, you would like, as an event planner, you like to compare properties themselves. As of now, we haven't delved, as there's the questions yet, because we're trying to do it in the micro level, each hotel, make sure, and then we can talk about maybe.
I'm going to actually answer to that one. Sorry to cut you off, July. But so we have created virtual site visits now for 6 years. So we do have different options how to do it. I can show it at the end of the property. I mean, this because now we're looking at a specific type of virtual site visits. So we have different types, and when we compare the venues, we usually use those different channels for that one. So we have a different way of doing it. This is the specific purpose of this one, is to really go inside of the building of one property and then highlight how it looks for the event purposes. But if we're looking at only capacity charts, there are multiple ways of doing that. And again, at the design level, if property says that we would like our 3 or 5 or 10 properties to be able to be compared at one presentation, of course we can then solve that. But here we are looking at just one property.
Exactly. And as this,
let me just remark, that's really beautiful, July. I didn't notice the transition from imaginary chairs and tables to an empty room. I thought they belong there. They are so candid and impressive.
Exactly. And right now we have used just 3D rendered furniture, which we could find online. But in the future, we can also scan the property, the furniture available in the property, and put them and virtually stage the room with their furniture, which would be great. And the beauty of this is also that in the dollhouse effect, you're able to see the layouts that you pick. So it makes it, if I change the layout to boardroom, then it changes also in the dollhouse effect. And this dollhouse shows you all the rooms available on the floor. And if you click on it, you go back to the layout with the setting that you have chosen.
That's great. I think, the fact that you see the carpets and the design of the room in that detail, in that dollhouse effect as well. And then here you see how much space it's left on the sides in case you want to add any screens or any. For example, for product launch, this is very important knowledge.
I can imagine of the company branding being put in the whiteboard or anywhere where it's an empty space, that the corporate client can really visualize themselves being in that room with all their logos and the banners being prominent. That's really an easy sell for me.
Exactly. We're able to put the branding of, let's say, whoever is looking at the space on the screens and other stuff.
That's remarkable.
So but this hotel was great. This conference center was great because, as you can see, there's so much texture in all the different rooms.
It's an ideal location to do a dollhouse and all these, because you really get to appreciate what they have done when they designed this property as well, and the interior design. And I think, all those 4-star, 5-star properties, or the unusual properties that we work with, they can see how we can highlight their best parts of the whole house or the whole castle or, convention center. You can really highlight if they've done some investments on design.
Exactly. And also we're able to see, one feature that we have is we're able to showcase the escape routes, for example.
I think we have seen that so many times. Security has been a very important selling point for hotels and venues, even before the pandemic. We have high security events and conferences in Finland. We have the Clinton Yeltsin Summit. We had Boris and the president of the United States that time. We had really a lot of high security events that needed to look at this doll house, and the terminology itself is very amazing. It's very consumer friendly, I might say.
Yeah, and so that's I mean, like I said, you can use this as a sales, marketing, or even training for the hotel itself, for the property itself, when you want to train remotely, because nowadays you never know.
Definitely, or if you want to train your staff, event staff as well, especially now when we have the COVID, the pandemic safety protocols, social distancing event protocols, different kinds of protocols in place, and then you can highlight those using this map as well, where the exits are, because you need to always have one point of entry and the other a separate point of exit, also for the health and safety reasons.
Exactly. And if you go, so another thing that we have incorporated is the ability to highlight, because sometimes it's important to see what's around the location. So we have included a couple of tiles here where you can see what's around the hotel. This is a hotel. We had the privilege to stand on the ice to take this shot.
And this is very unusual for Netherlands as well. I mean, beautiful timing.
Yeah, it was freezing, but it was beautiful. That's for sure.
Yes, and actually, you see, is there a beer garden that normally is active on the left-hand side? I think I saw some. So again, we would miss this to see what's here, outside of the property, unless we had this one. You can actually go swimming during summer.
Yeah. And that's this past weekend we went over to back to the hotel to take outside shots of it set up with all the terraces and everything. So we'll be incorporating those also to the presentation, to this presentation shortly.
It's really very fun. So yeah, to see the exterior of the property. I think during last summer, we have shown very fabulous properties in France and the Netherlands. And, it's a really easy sell. And at the same time, if you have a country or a city like Helsinki, the capital of the midnight sun, Finland, you need to show the property during the summer. And if you want to change it into the ice hockey capital of the world, and you need to show the winter season. And I think you need to update your visualizer site visit at least twice a year to really sell the destination, the product that you want. And especially if it's like 1,000 people conference, you have to invest on that presentation.
I agree. Having images which are tailored for the purpose, especially like you said, when it's a citywide event, and for example, the whole chain is participating in accommodating the attendees, then it's worthwhile investing on adding some really tailored images and seasonal images, like you said. And here we can see how the seasons change in the property. So if you're planning your event for winter or here in the spring, you see what you get.
And exactly, and you can post pictures of certain settings that you like as well.
Definitely, that's what we really like to see as well. I mean, we've been really adamant throughout when we're talking with properties and creating virtual site visits that examples of past events help us to really imagine our own event there as well. So when we have the opportunity to plan logistics, then it's great that it's an empty space and a neutral view of it. But then at the same time, some sample cases, I think when we meet at IBTM or IMEX or any other industry events, we always get excited when properties show, oh, this is one of the more exciting events we did in the past year or 2 years. So of course, now we're looking at a year ago, what happened, images, and then applying all our safety protocols into the future events. So there's a little changes to what we can do, but we're going back to the larger events now when the vaccinations are finalizing in every country. And that means that we can, again, enjoy the same kind of events that we used to.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, and that's the thing, if and virtual site visits are not going to change even after everybody can travel once again, due to the fact that, you know, there's a lot of people are more conscious with their carbon, like being sustainable, being, you know, minimizing the carbon footprint of what they how they do things, as well as budgets being cut, and, you know, and making it easier for event planners to be able to see multiple properties at the same time, rather than having to fly all over the world for that. But
Exactly.
so
Definitely.
that's, I'm gonna stop sharing, as that was all I wanted to share with you. And I hope if you have any questions, please let us know in the chat box.
If you will let me share a screen, then I'm going to put something on the back, but we can discuss on the last point that you made, because truly agreeing on the streaming and the hybrid versions, they will maintain their positions. Virtual events will definitely maintain their positions because we have better technology, better platforms to organize events. I'm now working on an event which is on an avatar platform, so it's very beautiful augmented reality space that you can get 10,000 people in, and you go in matter of minutes with your avatar from an internal space that is a digital twin to a Cancun, for example, an outdoor space with a dance floor. So you can really transfer also in the virtual world in a more of a human way, I would say, and interact and network. So yes, we will definitely use those means if we have global events, but certain industries cannot fully rely on that. For example, food industry, or if they're showcasing
Exactly.
hardware that you need to go and you know, like basically compare one to the other. There is one of the largest expos in China, which is for 160,000 people, and that is a food related event. So they will definitely carry on being live as much as possible.
Well, as long as we don't have smell-o-vision or taste-o-vision.
Even then, I think, yes, the shopping around aspect, and that's definitely one thing that I think we will get is virtual smells and,
Yeah,
and all of that.
Then that should be interesting.
Definitely. Yeah, so I think you are still a host. So if you can transfer the same way as we did with Sheila, the hosting rights to me, then I'm gonna open one of the screens. I'm just gonna highlight, you know, we're talking about white label product here. So all the properties are able to choose how they enter the space or how they want guests to enter the space, but also the navigation is. So you go to the participants, then you choose.
Sheila is the host. I made
Okay.
Sheila the host.
Ah, yes. So if Sheila, if you could change me to have a right to share the screen.
Okay.
Then excellent. So then I'm just gonna. Well, I go to the same link where we stayed at earlier, but then at the same time, we're gonna jump out of this presentation and just highlight a couple of the ways that you can navigate. So if you think about that, you have a property with different brands. And what Sheila asked earlier about comparing different capacity charts. So one way is to have all those properties in one presentation like we have here, and then you just enter each property on their own. So by clicking, you're then inside of that property, and we can really highlight, for example, we talked about campaigns. Before I go to the capacity charts, because we have them here with the meeting space. So just a moment. I mean, we can go to meeting space and we have the capacity charts. So we can move in and out from these spaces, just looking at which are the largest spaces, like, for example, the theater. And we can really introduce ourselves into these places. But what I wanted to showcase is really how to do the multi-property presentation and how to highlight campaigns. So I'm going to be sharing my computer sound, and you can just see how, for example, the expo, the World Expo, is highlighted here on this presentation, first of all, before client gets to see the properties. My Wi-Fi. So not to go through the whole thing, but you can basically add campaigns in. We can move into the properties from the same. This is still URL code, so we're not in any platform. I mean, you're looking at basically a URL code. So we can move into each property, look at, again, request for proposal. You were asking how to do that, so we can do it straight from the property itself. We can go to public areas. We have a 360 tour in the bottom if we want to go further into walking around. And all the important info is in the property in itself. And then we can go back into multi-properties view and again hop into another one and check. So this is a faster way of checking those different capacities. So you're basically moving from one property to another and viewing the capacities. So I think this might be one of the ways that we can solve it, is that they're just all in one. But if you're looking at outside of the chain and then comparing, then we have other channels for that one. So then it's really important that the properties enter their details into these channels so that we can do the comparison. And we can talk about that separately. And obviously the floor plans, you can choose different types of floor plans. Here we can click and just go into the space from this floor plan and just view how it looks like. If you want, there's a 360 tour again, as you can see on the left bottom corner. So then we can enter to the 360 view of this one, or we can just skim through fast if we don't want to walk around and we just want to have a quick view. In the same way, the room features in each place. It's up to the venue how much information is gathered here. And again, I mean, we like to look at the location as a separate. But what's really is important is also that we can share this, like we talked about, the link with as many as 181 locations via LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, email, whichever way. You can print it out straight from the presentation. So these are the quick ways of going through, but then we have the more internal, as you say, when you go really to planning, to training, the actual event, then you go to 360 mode. Otherwise, you can just do this kind of like a really light view of it. But I would have to say that these are all up to the venue. Again, we give options and we say, we give some examples, and you can really look at, okay, which one works best for you. We have another option here, which is, okay, now my intercontinental, for example.
Just as a simple question to July, why other than tables and chairs, you could actually place a real Bentley or a real Porsche inside those conference venues? Because that's what a lot of our clients actually want to envision. Where is the car show going to be located? And you could really put miniature cars right in those venues. Can I, July, do that?
Yeah, that's something we talked about, because as an event planner, you want to know if you want to put like you say, if it's a Formula One, if there's space for a car to fit in there. So we can put objects that visualize, that you can place in there and visualize how it look, like ice sculptures, or depending on what the client's needs are or who they're targeting. So we are able to place those kind of objects, and then, like I said, you can also with the Metaport technology, you're able to measure the doors to make sure that, well, because the room might be big enough, but how do you bring in what you want? So you have to make sure that you are able to measure different things, and so it is possible, and we are capable of creating different objects so that specific customers want to be able to visualize or swap in, swap out.
Excellent.
Exactly. So glad we worked together because this is what we need, really, today and tomorrow.
Exactly. And we wanted, we wanted to make it easy for the event planner to able to virtually visit the site and be able to visualize what they want in there, because if you cannot actually go and touch, touch the walls or see how grand the room is, it's hard to give them perspective. But if we can give them life size or accurate size objects that they can swap in and swap out, then they can see how much space there is, how much, if they can put cocktail tables around the car or not.
Definitely. I think that is such a big upgrade as well. I mean, those that already have Visualizer, then you can contact us to upgrade to the walk-in type of a presentation as well. We can build in, but that means also that if you don't already have the property scanned, then we would organize the scanning for you. If that's not possible, then we would really work around what the materials that you already have and create that virtual site visit. So with any kind of entry level, whether you have already existing photography or you don't, we can really help to create these extremely powerful and easily sellable virtual site visits where you will wow all the venue finders and event organizers and also travelers. I mean, those that are looking for leisure stay, weddings, or maybe just a remote working location. These are really one way of bringing more customers.
Exactly.
So we have looked at very different types of solutions. So just contact us if you're interested in one of the options that we have shown. As you have seen, we can go from video to all the way to AR type of presentations. And so happy to carry on with our collaboration and also showing other properties that we create with July and Ernst in the future webinars. So if you are one of the venues that want to be presented, we still have space in our future webinars, and we're happy to co-host and build those virtual site visits for you in white label.
And we have a few announcements. We have already added in our events pages the next few site visits we're going to have in May. And one of them will be in Italy. We are looking forward to that. Grazie. We have to practice our Italian now. And that's on May 18. And I hope that we're going to have a few properties joining us from the Asia Pacific or the United States. So tune in during this months and days of May.
Oh, definitely. And then we're back to Netherlands again with another properties, and then Barcelona. So exciting locations.
Really nice.
So thank you so much for everyone who joined us via Facebook Live, via webinar, and also maybe you're watching this as a recording. Thank you for the co-hosts, July and Sheila. It's been a pleasure meeting you today as well.
It's been a pleasure, and thank you for inviting me to showcase what we've been working on our collaboration and what we've been working as partners.
We're super excited and looking forward to continuing. So thank you everyone. Have a great day.
You. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.